and welcome back to another episode of HBO Max. I am Makenna. Joining me as always is Brandon. Hello, Brandon. How are you today?
Mac, I've got a story for you.
I am so excited. You said you had a story? I've been on the edge of my seat since.
Okay, so it's been a weird weekend in California.
Oh.
Huge storm here. I don't know if you saw.
Yes.
Actually, I sent you a picture
I was
of it
going to
on
say,
Friday.
I saw it because of you.
Yeah, woke up on Friday. We had like 3 feet of snow or whatever. A lot of snow. It doesn't snow here.
Right.
I live in the valley up north in California, and it hasn't like snowed and like stuck on the ground in the town since like 1999. I was in 2nd grade the last time I remember there being snow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it doesn't snow here. So yeah, we got like a lot of snow. I didn't work Friday because they couldn't do our job. And then the power was down all day. So sat around and read.
Right.
That's all I could do all day. Power was down until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But whatever. Next day, I'm still just like, I didn't do anything all day, right? Because no internet, no power, no nothing. Just sat around, read a book. And so like just feeling like bored on the weekend. Yesterday, I decided like, you know what? I've been getting, a couple weeks ago, I told you to get back into Magic the Gathering, playing the Magic the Gathering.
Right.
So I grab my Commander deck and I go down to the local game shop, play a couple casual games of Commander. I go there, it's going well, having fun. And they say that there's going to be a regional championship qualifier that night.
Whoa.
But I don't have a deck because I don't play the game anymore, really. So I borrow a deck from the owner of the store, play in the regional qualifier tournament, and then I won the thing.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm now qualified for the regional championship in Dallas.
Are you going?
I think I am.
When is it?
I would be in June. Like June 2nd to the 4th.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It was pretty surprising.
Would you win?
So, the prize is mostly the invite to the tournament, but I did get 2 promo cards, which are selling for like $40 a piece or whatever. Inside this fancy box, I get a lanyard because it's at the tournament's at DreamHack. It's in DreamHack Dallas, so I get a free 3-day pass to DreamHack.
Wow.
And then I got this lanyard that says champion, and it comes with this pin. And okay, so this is the thing. So everybody in top 8 gets one of these pins, right? I get the same pin as everybody else, but mine comes on a little card.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't listen, if you had me try to guess what your story would be about the weekend, I would not have said that. I don't think I would have come close to that. Oh my, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So I'm getting back into the Magic.
So what's your training regimen for Dallas?
That's a great question. The Dallas is it's a format called Pioneer, which was created like right when I quit playing the game competitively. So I've never played a game of this format.
Oh boy.
So my plan is I have a couple people that I know. My friend Jake locally, he's qualified to the championship qualifier. The regional championship that happens before mine. So we're going to be playing in different tournaments, but he's going to help me prepare for it. And then my friend who I've been streaming with, Niall, I'm going to get her to help me. She knows a lot more about the format than I do, and I'm going to be streaming all of that, working with her. So yeah. You can follow along my quest to go to
my God,
to place high enough at the regional championship to get an invite to the Pro Tour.
Where's the Pro Tour? What is the Pro Tour? Do you get to tour around?
No, not really. But it's a big money tournament that's invite only that they do 3 of a year. So basically, the way it works is like the base level tournaments, the regional championship qualifier. Then you go to the regional championship, then the Pro Tour, then the World Championship. So if I finish in the top 48 of the regional championship, I get an invite to Pro Tour Barcelona. Yeah. If I finish top 2 at the regional championship, I get an invite to the World Championships in Las Vegas. Which also, if I were to do like, I think it's like top 16 at the Pro Tour, you get an invite to the World Championship.
Oh. What?
Yeah. So I just got to do well at Magic for a couple tournaments now.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Oh my god. Did you, like, how much had you been practicing before yesterday?
I had played a couple of rounds of Standard, which is the format that the tournament was. And then just like general, just like I was playing a lot of Magic, doing stuff. So just like kind of like getting back into the grooves of how you're supposed to play the game and stuff. But I show up and like it's a deck I've never played before. It has no sideboard. So like in between games, you get to switch out cards to better fit the matchup. Didn't have that. I just got mostly really lucky. And I'm also like, I'm pretty good. So it just kind of worked out.
Holy shit. Like, you were already one of the coolest people that I knew, but like you just keep going up, man. Like, no biggie. Winning a tournament. The hell? That's wild. Congrats.
So yeah, my it's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, shout out. Do you think you would have gone if the storm hadn't happened?
I think there's a good chance that I probably wouldn't have.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was just feeling bored. Like I wanted to do so because I had been playing a lot of Magic online, and then I couldn't do that on Friday. I had the extra day off, and so I was just like, I just want to go play some Magic.
Insane.
Yeah.
Listen, if the thing had been in Philadelphia, I would have brought
The Pro Tour 2 weeks ago was in Philadelphia.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah. So just qualified for the wrong one.
You know, you'll get him next time.
Yeah.
Wow. That. So will they fly you out for that, or do you have to cover all of that? Or?
No, I have to pay for travel and all that. But part of what helps out is if I get the invite to Barcelona, what helps out is that they give you, again, promotional cards.
Right.
The ones that are going at the regional qualifier are selling for I think over $100, maybe even closer, around like $200. But then when you get to the Pro Tour, like this, like because the Pro Tour came back pretty recently, like they had gotten rid of competitive Magic and they recently brought it back. So Pro Tour 1 was 2 weeks ago in Philadelphia, and everybody who showed up got a card that's now selling for like $1,000.
Ooh, wow.
So that'll help cover a flight,
a
hotel, you know.
When is when, not if you go to the Barcelona? When would that
I don't know. I think maybe September, if that makes sense.
Wow. This is what a way to kick off the episode. This is wild.
Yeah. Oh, and also just to tie it into the actual episode, Makenna,
yes.
Do you know what set because the Pro Tour the Pro Tour happens for when the new set comes out. There's a Pro Tour. Do you know what set will be the theme of the Pro Tour if I qualify for it in Barcelona?
Something Lord of the Rings and or Hobbit related.
It is the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set.
Wow.
Adventures in Middle Earth.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So yeah.
Wow, look at that. Tie it all together. And guess what? Happy Lord of the Rings month.
It's Lord of the Rings month.
It's Lord of the Rings month. I am very excited. I haven't had a lick of Lord of the Rings. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so you don't know anything about Lord of the Rings, huh?
No, I don't. I know The Hobbit's a prequel, and there's 3 maybe books in the actual Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah,
then
essentially.
there's like some other books about. Yeah, it's like probably out of all of the big series, I probably know the least about, which isn't good.
Okay.
Because it's a big series. But what is your history with The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I'm all about the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings. My dad took me like the day the first of the Peter Jackson movies came out.
Mm-hmm.
He took me to see Fellowship of the Ring because he grew up watching the 77 Hobbit and then the Ralph Bakshi version of Lord of the Rings. And so he had seen all those movies when he was a kid and stuff. So he knew Lord of the Rings. He hadn't read the books or anything, but he was like hyped up. He was like, oh yeah, these were cartoons when I was a kid and whatever. So he took me to see that. I thought it was awesome. That was right around the time my brother had he had gotten the Lord of the Rings books and read them, and he was super into them. So we had rented the cartoon versions of, like the one that we watched today. And so, yeah, I loved those when I was a kid. And then, yeah, just like Lord of the Rings is one of like my favorite book series. I really love the story. I really love the world. I think J.R.R. Tolkien's a super neat dude. So yeah, I'm all about Lord of the Rings.
Yes, I'm very excited. I will have a lot of questions, of course.
Yeah, it does suck that we're starting it off with this is your intro to the Lord of the Rings, because Makenna, this movie's not very good.
I had a lot of questions. Dude, let me tell you what, you get into it right away. There is no fluff in the beginning. You're in for it. I mean, it's only an hour and 17 minutes, so it's like...
Yeah, well, it's a made-for-TV movie.
Right, yeah.
So they really didn't have a lot of time. It's sort of weird because eventually Peter Jackson would do his adaptations of The Hobbit, which were like, 3 2-hour movies long, which is way too long to cover what is a fairly short book. But then this one, it feels like, man, this just plows through every single storyline in the book, just like lightning speed.
Yeah, it's I got a little bit of whiplash, but you know what? That's okay. I mean, let me tell you some facts and figures. Now, I will preface this: there's not a lot of facts and figures with this, which I
wouldn't imagine so.
A lot of the IMDb trivia page was just about the songs and where they were in relation to the book and how they connected. Yeah. So, The Hobbit released November 27th, 1977. Almost 50. No, that's a lie. We're still a few years out. Budget of $3 million, broadcasted on NBC. It was animated by Topcraft, which is now defunct Tokyo Animation Studio. Their animation team reformed as Studio Ghibli. It was nominated for a Grammy in 1979 for Best Recording for Children, but it lost to The Muppet Show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I saw that. I was like, okay, yeah, Jim Henson checks out. It did win the Peabody Award. That's hype. And there is an original song, "The Greatest Adventure." The rest are from the book.
They play that song so many times.
I know, it's been stuck in my head since last night.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a good song, though. It's so cute. Yeah, the rest are from the book or adaptations taken from the book. I loved the music. I didn't realize there was music for some reason in the book.
Yeah, there's a bunch of songs in the book.
That's fantastic. When you read The Hobbit, how did you interpret the music? Like, did you put it to your own melody, or like, did you put it to...
I never really did like really figured out like what the melodies are supposed to be, anything like that. I never really gave that a shot. I'd known a couple of the songs, like the Barrels one is in the book, and that they do in the movie as well. So I knew like those ones. But yeah, it's weird. It's just because like the way that the books are written is like, are you familiar with like what the Lord of the Rings like is like the frame story around it?
No. I know they're trying to put the ring in the volcano. I know that. So
the thing about it is so J.R.R. Tolkien was a linguistics professor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so like the Lord of the Rings as a book series is a couple of things. Like one, The Hobbit is part of like stories he would tell his kid growing up as like bedtime stories, essentially, that he eventually wrote down into a novel. But for like the actual like big series, like the Legendarium as it's called, it was an experiment for him to like, he had composed languages because that's like, you know, his thing. And he wanted something to do with them. So he put them into, he made a world and then, you know, put the languages in there. So he invented Sindarin for the elves and all that stuff. But like the weird thing is so part of like his job at the university was translating text, right? Like one of the most famous translations of Beowulf is done by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh.
And he's kind of like the reason that Beowulf is like known as a story these days. So the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings are written the way that Beowulf is. So he wrote it as if he found this text called the Red Book of Marsh and translated it into these books.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird way to like sell your story, but I think it's super interesting. Yeah.
Oh my God. So like so did the Lord of the Rings come first and then like the Hobbit in the subsequent novels,
the Hobbit was published without any intention of it being a full series. Like the Lord of the Rings came afterwards. And he actually, so the original version that he released after the Lord of the Rings came out, he released a new like edited version of the Hobbit that makes it more faithful and like ties it in better. And yeah, there's like a weird continuity thing with it too. But like in the original text of the Hobbit, Bilbo just tells Gandalf that he found the ring, and that's the way it is in the book. And like him stealing it from Gollum and stuff, that's not in the original text. That was changed later in the second edition. And so the way that it is explained is that like the original Hobbit is the way like Bilbo tells the story, and then like the later version of the Hobbit is more like what actually happened. And like he did other things, like he made like Gollum a more like sinister character when he went back and rewrote it to like frame, because Gollum's going to come back later and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. That insane. What is the time so the Hobbit happens and then X amount of time happens and then the Lord of the Rings happens. What is that?
It's let's see. I want to say Bilbo's what, in his like 30s or 40s when this book happens, and he's 111 when Lord of the Rings happens.
Oh, so who is Frodo to Bilbo?
He's his nephew.
His nephew. Okay. Well, now I'm like spawning like Lord of the Rings questions, which I'll ask those.
Fair enough. We can get them all out in the beginning. That way, when we get into the later stuff, we don't have to deal with the questions.
Okay.
You can go into like the good movies with like a good firm knowledge base.
Okay, cool. So, okay. Well, okay, wait. Let me ask a Hobbit question real quick first. But it's okay. Why did Gandalf choose Bilbo? Bilbo. Because I think it was probably explained in the animation, but I was just so thrown off by how quick everything we got into and trying to figure out who the hell was who that I think I may have missed it.
So I think it's Gandalf had an adventure with somebody from Bilbo's family in the past.
Oh.
And that he had met Bilbo when he was like a kid. And so he decides for a Hobbit to join with the but it's part of Gandalf's quest in Middle Earth. Because so like Gandalf isn't a human. Like he's not a guy.
Right.
Wizard is like a race.
Oh.
He's in Astari is what I think it's called. I haven't brushed up on my my Tolkien in a long time, but I believe Gandalf is an Astari, which is essentially he's an angel from that the gods sent to Middle Earth to like help out with the fight against Sauron, who's the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of what Gandalf's
Sorry, go on.
The title just clicked for you.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
keep going.
So Gandalf's job that he was sent here to do is to like rally the various like people of Middle Earth to like fight against Sauron and like the dark forces of, you know, all that stuff. So part of what he's doing is showing up, because the hobbits are the ones like least involved in anything. It's just showing up and like encouraging them to like, so that everybody can unite together eventually when the fight needs to happen.
That's nice. Does the dragon Smaug, does he come Smaug? Benedict I think he's doesn't Benedict Cumberbatch play him?
Yeah.
Does he, is that just in the Hobbit that he is in, or is he also in the Lord of the Rings?
No, Smaug dies at the end of this.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Like, it
doesn't happen on screen.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Remember, like Bilbo is like arguing with him, like, "Hey, we should go check and see if Smaug died or not, because like you might be coming back." And then Bard shows up and he's like, "Nah, bro, it's cool, I got him."
I wasn't sure because I had watched I think Benedict Cumberbatch was on the Graham Norton show, and he was showing off how he was Smaug, and I wasn't sure if when that happened. Well, so Lord of the Rings, that was like early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I think the first one came out in either 2000 2001.
And then The Hobbit was what, like 10 years later?
2009, I think.
Okay.
No. 2011.
Who? Elijah Wood. Which
Yes.
one was he in? Who was he?
Elijah Wood plays Frodo in the Lord of the Rings series.
Martin
Freeman plays Bilbo.
Okay. That's when he, okay.
Yeah.
Did Elijah Wood wear a wig?
Not in that movie. No, he did not wear a wig.
Will he wear a wig?
Maybe.
I don't know the rest of it. I only know this too. We should get Elijah Wood on the show. You know, I actually think
That'd be great.
I think we could. I think out of all the people I have said we should have on this show, I think Elijah Wood might be the most attainable.
That one might be doable.
We could figure that out. So the sword, Sting. Is that just in The Hobbit, or is that also in The Lord of the Rings as well? Well, that
it will be in The Lord of the Rings as well.
I really liked Sting.
Yeah, Bilbo will gift Frodo Sting.
So how does, and this will probably be answered, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to make some. So why does Frodo go? So, like, why does he do the Lord of the Rings thing? Like, is he chosen?
You can wait to watch the movie.
Okay,
The movie
I wasn't sure how many questions. So how long is what is the time span of The Hobbit? Like, how, because it said in the movie that, like, I forget, I can't remember what exactly, it was like a few weeks or whatever. They were somewhere. I don't remember. That's very vague, but
I would say it probably takes place over about a year or so.
Oh, wow.
I know. So in the book, I believe what happens is Bilbo comes back and the Sackville Bagginses are like trying to like take his house and like are having him declared dead or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a while.
Mm-hmm. The New Zealand, I know they have the Hobbit holes. Is that what? Oh wait, hold on. Forget I said that. I'll come back to it. Does Frodo live in, what is it? Hobbiton? Does he also live? Okay, so the Hobbiton in New Zealand,
Yes.
is that both Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? Like incorporate from both things,
Yeah.
or is it? I guess the same universe, but like okay.
What's the name of the name of Bilbo's house? I can't think of what it is, but it's Frodo lives in the same house.
Oh, that's fun. Did you ever watch? And this is I'm going off the tangent now. Did you ever watch a Simple Walk into Mordor, the Rooster Teeth thing with Carrie and Chris Damaris, where they did the Lord of the Rings? This was like a decade ago. I'm surprised they went on.
I don't like watch that much Rooster Teeth stuff anymore. Like, I'm a fan from like the Red versus Blue days.
Oh, okay.
Like so I didn't really watch any of the later stuff.
So I think it was about 10 years ago, maybe. Chris Damaris and Carrie Shawcross did the route of the Lord of the Rings, which I think I'm going to read because I haven't rewatched. It may have been more than 10 years ago now. I'm thinking about it because I haven't watched it since I got into Rooster Teeth, and I might rewatch it during this month because I remember it being really funny because it's just a lot of simple walking to Mordor, but it's I think they did. I think it's from what I remember, it's very good.
That's cool.
We should do that.
We should.
That'd be very fun. And that's the excuse for us to go to New Zealand.
Yeah, we go to New Zealand. We get to go see Johnny Vids.
Yes. And we see Ben. We see all the people down there. It's because as far as I'm aware, they're the only two who live in New Zealand.
Yep.
With the Kiwi.
Yeah, it's them and the Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah. Exactly. Do the Kiwis still exist, right? They're not extinct, right? That's the dodo that's extinct, yeah? The Kiwis.
Dodo's extinct. I don't know anything about Kiwis.
Because I think they're birds without wings. Maybe those are the dodos. Hold on, I need to look up the Kiwis. Because I saw a kiwi. Well, I didn't see a kiwi. No, not the fruit. Bird. Look at that. Oh, that's such a cute little bird. Yeah, I think they still exist. It looks like they still exist.
Yeah.
We should go find some kiwi too.
That'd be dope.
That would be. Let's. Okay, New Zealand, add it to the list. I gotta make a list. Because I don't remember all where we're going. It's been a few months. Oh, wait, okay. What? Hold on, I gotta check off some of my questions. Hold on. How accurate was this version of The Hobbit to the book?
Accurate enough, I guess. It leaves out some stuff.
Mm.
Like the dude who can turn into a bear is not in it.
What?
Yeah, they in the book they meet a skin changer named Beorn or something like that, and he can turn into a bear. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's so like they leave out stuff. But overall, like the narrative, it's pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why Gandalf be leaving so much? Why is he in and out?
So part of it is just like them doing like when he's like popping in and out and stuff. It's like, oh, that's just how wizards are, and it's sort of like a flavor thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he disappears for like a long time, like the entire thing with the Lonely Mountain, he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
He's off having a side adventure with Radagast the Brown and forming the White Council, which is a big deal for later. And they defeat the Necromancer in Mirkwood Forest.
Oh.
And the Necromancer turns out to be like a weakened version of Sauron.
The Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be saying that all the time now because. Wow.
Yes, he is the Lord of the Rings.
Nah, that might be too big of a question for right now. That might be one of the questions for later, the end of the month. What? Oh, shoot. I was going to ask a question about Gandalf. So, how old is Gandalf?
Technically ageless, but
Right.
So he showed up at the beginning of the Third Age as Gandalf, but he, has existed throughout all of time. as like pretty much after the Great Song or whatever it's called, he gets created, and so he's been around for, you know, in heaven or wherever forever.
He's just hanging out.
Yeah.
What time period are we in?
We are in the Third Age.
What is that relevant to us?
Okay, so this is actually a murky part of the Legendarium, is whether or not it takes place in our world or not. And Tolkien sort of went back and forth on whether it actually does or not. Obviously, there's the entire frame story that it was like a book that he found and translated, but maybe that's magic. I don't know. Because part of it having to be in our world directly conflicts with things that J.R.R. Tolkien would say in like letters and stuff. Like, is a common interpretation that people use of Lord of the Rings is that Eru Ilúvatar, who's like the god of Middle Earth and the entire thing, that is the Catholic god, because J.R.R. Tolkien is Catholic. Admittedly, Lord of the Rings has Catholic influences and stuff like that. Tolkien has confirmed that Eru Ilúvatar is not the god from the Bible. So
the Bible god.
So that's sort of a contradiction that it can't be in our world, because Tolkien believes that God exists in our world and Eru Ilúvatar is not God. So, but there is also an interpretation you can have that this does take place in our world, just like millions of years ago.
Right.
Because part of like what the end of the Lord of the Rings is like, I think it ends the Third Age and then it starts the Age of Man, because all like the elves leave and like most of the magic in the world leaves with them. And so yeah, part of the way the Lord of the Rings work is that it's like on a constant decline, which is like a thing that like J.R.R. Tolkien like believed about the world, was that like things were always sort of like on a constant decline, which is pretty sad, but that like reflects itself in Lord of the Rings, that like the magic is fading from the world and things are getting less remarkable.
Oh wow, that. Now I will say that is the one thing that I did know about J.R.R. Tolkien, is that he was Catholic. That was
super Catholic.
Oh yes, we learned about him in school. It was him.
Yeah, huge Catholic dude.
Him, and I think C.S. Lewis, I think, or Charles.
C.S. Lewis, yeah, but C.S. Lewis wasn't Catholic.
Oh, then maybe it was Charles Dickens. I always mix those two up. One of them was Catholic, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I know J.R.R. Tolkien was. We learned about him. He was in all of our textbooks. What? So, what, the war at the end of this movie?
The Battle of Five Armies.
The Battle of Five Armies. What's going on? I missed the explanation. That all of a sudden they were fighting.
Okay.
And I missed what happened.
So, the elves don't like the dwarves because of, back in the day, they just didn't get along, right? Not into each other.
Right.
So, the Elf King, the way the elves look in this movie is like really dumb for some reason, like the Wood Elves, because you meet the High Elves with Elrond at the beginning of the movie, and then you go meet the Wood Elves and they look completely different, which is weird. Because Makenna, so you're familiar with Legolas, right?
He's
Orlando
the
Bloom.
Dude. Orlando Bloom. Long
So the
hair.
the Green Elf King in this movie,
yeah,
that's Legolas's dad.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So a weird thing this movie does with the elves. But so yeah, so the elves don't like the dwarves, so they're like tracking down Thorin because they broke out of prison or whatever. The people of Dale are going to storm the mountain because so there used to be a big city there called Dale that got destroyed. Now everybody lives in Lake Town. So they want to take some of Smaug's money so that they can rebuild Dale. But Thorin, he's got this thing called dragon sickness, which is like, so like Tolkien uses like a very old version of dragons because like Smaug is based on the dragon from Beowulf essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so Smaug, like his horde is sort of like poisoned, and it makes you like obsessed with it, and you want to like that's why Thorin won't share any of the money with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the elves want to attack the dwarves because they have an old grudge. The men want to attack the dwarves because they want to get that cash. And Thorin is being a jackass because he's being like mind controlled by the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the goblins are going after them, or they're orcs, goblins. It's sort of like interchangeable in Lord of the Rings. But they want revenge because Thorin showed up with the goblin cleaver or whatever, which like killed a bunch of goblins back in the day. So the goblins are like, "Oh, yo, we got to kill these guys. Like
Right.
they're fucking with our people. We got to go kill these guys." And then they killed the Goblin King too. You know. And
David Bowie.
that's who when Gandalf showed up with the faux hammer, killed the Goblin King. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So the goblins are going after Thorin too, and then everybody's like, "Oh, well, we got to band together to kill the goblins because we don't fuck with goblins, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And then the eagles show up because the eagles also don't fuck with goblins. One of the main orcs who's like leading that army tried to kill the king of the eagles back in the day, and Gandalf saved him, and that's why he shows up to help Gandalf. But he also because he wants to kill some goblins. So that's what's going on in the Battle of the Five Armies.
Wow, that is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So how? Okay, so like the a lot of the no, I guess that's Lord of the Rings. Fellowship of the Ring would be Lord of the Rings. How I forget what they call their little group, the 14 of them. But how many of them appear? I know some of them died. How many of them appear? Do any of them? How many of them appear in Lord of the Rings? Like continue on.
Let me check here because I don't believe that we actually get to see any of them again.
Oh no.
We find out what happens to one of them because they're going to try to go visit Balin later. And I'm trying to remember if Gloin is in this or not. Yeah. Gloin, who's one of the dwarves that were hanging out in this movie, he is the father of Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. That's a name I know.
Yeah. Gimli, son of Gloin.
That makes sense.
Yep.
It's all connected. And then oh no, I just answered my own question. So Gollum.
Yeah, Gollum.
What's up with Gollum? Well, like, how did he come into possession of the ring?
You're gonna find all that out in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All that gets answered.
Do we find out what he is?
Yes.
Okay. He's played by Andy Serkis, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so all my Gollum questions. Okay.
Yeah. All your Gollum questions will get answered in due time.
Okay, cool. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy, is that one continuous thing?
Yeah, it was originally written as one book.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, well, one text with 6 books in it, and then they were like, nobody's gonna buy that big book. You got to break that up into 3 books.
Oh, okay. Do the spiders come back in Lord of the Rings?
Towards the end, yeah.
Shit. Okay. Are they scary in the movie?
A little bit, yeah.
Shit. Is it akin to Chamber of Secrets with the acromantulas?
I don't think it's as scary.
Okay.
But yeah, there's gonna be some spiders.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I just won't look that. I didn't look during this Hobbit, let alone with the real people. Are they as big as the spiders in Harry Potter?
No, much smaller.
Okay, okay. At least they got that. Um, why are there big?
They're like
spiders?
Hobbit-sized spiders.
Oh, how big is a Hobbit?
Like 3 foot normally.
Oh.
I want to say that Merry and Pippin grow to like 4 feet, and they're the tallest hobbits ever.
Wow.
Is that right?
I've got a dumb question then.
Okay.
Okay. Is there someone in The Lord of the Rings who is like Benjamin Button where he ages backwards?
No.
Okay, because I think up until maybe like last year or 2 years ago, I thought
Oh, the GIF. You're talking about the GIF of the
Maybe.
guy.
I don't know. So, okay, I lied to you because I just remember something. I do know kind of a little bit about Lord of the Rings because I don't know if you're familiar with Paint, John Cozart, who did Harry Potter 99 Seconds. He did Lord of the Rings in 99 Seconds, which may have been about 10 years ago now as well. And that I did know that for a brief period of time, and there's a line that's like, he's aging backwards like Benjamin Button, or whatever.
Yeah, Theoden. Theoden in Lord of the Rings. When they show up and they meet Theoden for the first time, he's being possessed by Wormtongue. And so he's like all like decrepit and he's all messed up. And then Gandalf saves him. And yeah, there's that GIF that's really popular of like him like boom, and he's like normal again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he goes from like old to young.
I'm going to admit something very embarrassing that
Okay.
Up until about a year or two ago, I thought Benjamin Button was a character in Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like a name. That sounds like a name of a Lord of the Rings character, Benjamin Button.
That's why I didn't question it until I was like, oh, Brad Pitt? I didn't know Brad Pitt was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Benjamin Button sounds like he hangs out with Mary Brandybuck.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see it.
I heard about like the Pippin person, and I was like, oh,
yeah. Peregrine Took.
Yes.
That's Pippin's real name is Peregrine Took.
That's a great name. So, good thing I learned that now, or else I'd be asking you.
When does Benjamin Button show up?
what's his role in all of this? How does he play into it? So I've heard a lot about these trees.
The Ents. Yeah.
Yeah, do they got like faces or something? They like what personification of trees?
Yep.
What's up with them?
Not much.
Okay. They're just hanging out, being trees?
Yeah, you'll meet them later. They're fun. But like nothing special. They're just tree people.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to meet the tree people. Are there as much music as that was not good grammar? Is there music in The Lord of the Rings similar to The Hobbit? Like, do they sing cute little songs?
Not really. There's one or two scenes where they do songs, but they did cut a lot of that stuff. There's a lot about, and we'll talk about it when we get to the Peter Jackson, but there's a lot about the Peter Jackson adaptations of The Lord of the Rings that I personally, as a big books fan of Lord of the Rings, I'm like, I really like these movies. I think they're fantastic movies, but as adaptations, there's a lot where it's like, well, you just can't put that in a movie. Mm-hmm. Like the songs, the Tom Bombadil stuff, they cut all that stuff out. And yeah, not a fan.
Oh boy. Shoot. I was gonna ask you another question. Oh, when does this their meal times, does that come into Lord of the Rings? I know they got a bunch of dinners or something.
You're talking about the second breakfast, right?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Hobbits eat a lot.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. I think, do they go into it in the Hobbit book about like their schedule? Because I remember reading their schedule. Maybe I just saw it on the internet.
The beginning of the beginning of Lord of the Rings has an introduction called Concerning Hobbits,
Oh, maybe that's.
which is like a full breakdown of like, look, this is what you need to know about the hobbits, okay? Is that they're these lazy dudes who like to sit around and eat and smoke and yeah.
That's amazing. Man, would you recommend reading The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings?
So I love the books.
Right.
I think they're fantastic.
Mhm.
You do have to sort of if you're going to read them, you have to be aware that they are written intentionally in a very like olden style,
Mm-hmm.
based around things like, Beowulf or any of those older texts and stuff.
Mhm.
And so for some people, they can be extremely hard to read. It's a bit dry. And then like some people really hate how much bullshit's in the book, like the
Mhm.
Tom Bombadil stuff, which is like early on in the first Lord of the Rings book, like during this big epic adventure, they just go fuck off into the woods and hang out with this weird singing dude for like a couple chapters.
Hell yeah.
And like a lot of people don't like that stuff. It's one of my favorite parts of the book. I love the Tom Bombadil stuff. So yeah, for some people they're like super dry books that they don't like. I think they're really, really great. Read The Hobbit for sure. It's a pretty short book. If you like The Hobbit, if you can get through how that's written, you can deal with all the songs, all that shit. Read the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. I do have The Hobbit. I have a little travel-sized version of The Hobbit. It's a very cute, tiny little book. I tried reading it in 8th grade. I got about maybe 4 or 5 pages in, and I said, "Not today." So maybe I'll get back to it. It seems like a fun time. See what's going on. See what's up. I was gonna ask you another question. Do we learn why this Sauron dude, he's the eye thing, right? The orange, the top of the Mount Doom? Is that it?
No. Yes.
Do we learn why he is the Lord of the Rings?
Actually, kind of like not really.
Oh, okay.
Like in the movies, like they actually like this is one of the things I don't really like. I love those movies, but there's some real problems that they have is that like they barely explain what the fuck's going on with Sauron. So Sauron is a dude who is sort of like the same kind of thing that Gandalf is, like an Astari. He is basically like a demigod or an angel from heaven who like showed up, and he betrays the Miari to join Melkor, and Melkor is like the devil.
Oh.
Yeah, Melkor is like super bad dude who's already been beaten in the Lord of the Rings. They wrap all that up, but then Sauron, like when like they defeat Melkor and stuff, Sauron like disappears, goes away. Nobody knows where he is, and then later they find out that he's taken over this place up in Mordor, and he's building an army up there, and so then everybody has to band together to defeat Sauron. So, yeah.
So has there been multiple Lords of the Rings, or is he the one?
No, he's the one Lord of the Rings.
He is.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Well, this is okay. My mind is still blown from like 20 minutes ago when you. I mean, more like 30. We're at 50 minutes. Like when you said I like to think about titles. I love when the movies say the title. I love when it's in the book. Man, that is like one of my favorite parts of a movie when they say the title. I've never thought about the Lord of the Rings. I've never thought about who is this ring lord. Oh, plural, rings. Wait, is there more than one ring?
Yes.
Wait, where? Okay,
there's 8.
8.
No, there's way more rings than that, right?
There's more.
Yeah, it's all covered at the beginning of the.
Okay, cool. I've got
They'll tell you all about how many rings there are.
Okay, so like this, the Lord. Okay, wait. Are we? We talked about this off camera, but I already forget. Are we watching the extended versions or not? I don't remember.
We're gonna do the extended version.
Okay, cool. I was hoping we were, but I wasn't sure what we decided on like last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like the start of the Lord of the Rings, does this kind of just like go into some of the lore and explain things and then start?
It starts off with a breakdown of, because they've already defeated Sauron once, and so it's a quick breakdown of, hey, this is when they defeated Sauron. This is what happened. Now we're jumping forward like hundreds of years.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so excited. I'm excited to learn all of the things and all of the information. And, Brandon, I want you to talk more about The Hobbit because I have been asking you way too many questions and I want to hear you talk about the movie more.
Okay, well, I just want to close the loop in on something because you're mind blown on the Lord of the Rings thing. The actual title of the books in the universe, because what The Hobbit is The Hobbit is Bilbo's diary from the events, right?
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's what the translated text turns into The Hobbit. The Lord of the Rings is Frodo's diary through his journey and their collected works. And then the end of it is done by Samwise Gamgee. And then there's a couple other things that get put into the Red Book of Marsh later. But the actual title of the Lord of the Rings that Frodo puts down in the book is The Downfall of the Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King.
That's dope. That's a great title.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
That's good.
But like this, The Hobbit, this movie's not that good. It's pretty bad. It's like really cheaply animated. It doesn't look very good a lot of the time. It's pretty boring for the most part. It goes through everything super, super fast, but still feels really slow. Yeah, I don't like, it's definitely a movie that I have a lot of nostalgia for because I watched it when I was really young, but yeah, it's not good.
My favorite part was the songs. I will never shut up about the songs. I think they were so fun. They came out of nowhere. I didn't realize we were watching a musical. It was cute and adorable. And it was just, they had like a little song for everything. It was so nice. I liked the one at the beginning. I liked when they were in the barrels. That was a fun song. A lot of onomatopoeia. I like the song in the beginning. Doing the things that Bilbo Baggins.
Oh, that's what Bilbo Baggins hates?
Yeah, that one was great. That was fun. We're starting off strong. Oh no, I just had a bunch of notes about the soundtrack. I just really liked the songs.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, it was just so like something would happen. Here's an upbeat song about it. Like it was a great time. I enjoyed it. I listened to the soundtrack today because it was just so fun. I don't know if
you should check out the soundtrack for the Peter Jackson Hobbit.
Ooh.
Because they do they do songs in those, and it's pretty sweet. I would say that's one of the good things about those movies is that the songs are really like the Misty Mountain song is awesome.
So the Hobbit, the Peter Jackson Hobbit.
Yeah.
So obviously it's quite a bit longer than this Hobbit.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on it?
So I don't think those movies are good. I don't like them.
Okay.
They're too long. They get really, really boring because they're just stretching out a lot of time that doesn't need to be had. They fill out a lot of it, like they tell the story of Gandalf going off and forming the White Council, the Council, and just defeating the Necromancer. Mm-hmm. That doesn't need to be in your movie. Nobody cares about that, man. You do get to hang out with Radagast the Brown, which is pretty sweet. I like him. Galadriel gets to show up, and I always love more Galadriel. But yeah, the rest of it's pretty bad. Those movies suck.
So I was looking up the soundtrack for the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. It's composed by Howard Shore. Now we have done another movie that he has written music for. Do you know what that other music is, or that what
No,
that other
no,
movie
I don't.
is? It's The Fly.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He did the opera and he did the movie, and he did Silence of the Lambs. We didn't do that on here, but in Philadelphia. Wow. And 7 to tie it back to Brad Pitt. Not that it needed to be tied back to Brad Pitt, but
Yeah, the topic of today's episode, Brad Pitt.
And he did The Aviator. Oh my god, he's done 2. Oh, now I gotta go.
He's good. He's really good.
He's got an extensive list of things. Wow, my brain just completely shit itself. And he was the musical director on SNL for 11 years. Wow. Can we get him on the show? I want to get Howard Shore on the show.
Seems like a good gig.
Oh, have you seen the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon?
I watched like the first 3 episodes, and I thought it was just super boring.
Where does that take place? How does that fit into everything?
Oh boy, that show condenses about like 200 years
Shit.
down into like 4 episodes.
Oh my.
Yeah, that like on like the timeline of that show is just completely divorced from like the actual Lord of the Rings. Like it's essentially just like fan fiction.
Amazing. So I listen, okay? I was excited to do Lord of the Rings month, but after we started with The Hobbit and after my brain has started brewing questions about the Lord of the Rings, I am so excited for the month of March. Like, this is gonna be great. So I don't think we've broken down what we are doing for March yet on an episode. I think we've only talked about it off camera and on Twitter. So what are we doing this month?
What do you mean?
Like what? Oh, well, I guess we already talked about. There's only 3 movies. Okay, never mind. Wait, yeah. Watch Lord of the Rings. Boom, March, baby.
Yeah, we're doing Lord of the Rings. So we're gonna go through the extended editions of all the Peter Jackson movies. So we're starting with the 77 Hobbit, and then we're gonna do Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, extended editions. Yeah, and that's gonna be Lord of the Rings month.
Lord of the Rings month. So, buckle up. Sorry, I was looking at my calendar. I was placing them all on the calendar. I'm excited to learn about the Lord of the Rings more, and
the next 3 movies are a lot better than this one.
They've won like Oscars, haven't they?
Mostly the third one won a bunch of Oscars as sort of like a acknowledgement of the entire series. Is sort of how that's viewed. Yeah.
Were they all filmed? And I'm sure we'll get more into this in the coming weeks. Were they all filmed back to back to back, or?
Essentially, yeah. I think it was mostly that the last 2 were filmed like continuously, but I think for the most part, they shot all 3 at the same time.
Insane.
Because with those, they went back and like those were in production for a really long time with a bunch of different people. Oh. Like the Beatles were originally cast as the 4 Hobbits.
Like Paul, John, Ringo.
Paul, John, George, Ringo. George. They were cast. They were going to be the 4 Hobbits of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin. Like that was a version of. And then who was supposed to direct that? Let me look this up. I can't remember who's supposed to, but yeah, there's been a bunch of different like people who tried to make a Lord of the Rings film for like a really, really long time. And then there was talks about like trying to do like because originally people were like tried to do it in one movie, and they're like, you can't do that in one movie. It's absolutely impossible. And they're like, okay, we'll do it in 2 movies. And then they're like, okay, we'll try to do it in 2 movies and all that stuff. And then eventually, like, they got some studio where they hired Peter Jackson and were like, hey, we want you to do it. We want you to do it in 2 movies. Like, it can't be done. You got to do it 3 movies, 1 for each of the books. And weirdly, like, it seems so weird now that would be like a sticking point for a studio to be like, no, we don't want 3 movies of this. We want less movies. Because now it's like, yeah, like they wouldn't like, you wouldn't adapt the Harry Potter movies and do like 2 books at a time, or like,
yeah, that'd be weird.
You know, try to do the entire Hunger Games series in 1 movie. Like that seems like such a dumb idea now. But that's what they tried to do, and yeah, like eventually they convinced the studio to be like, okay, 3 movies, and it's mostly because like people really didn't believe that they would be successful financially for some reason. And so they didn't want to invest 3 movies because then you end up with like your first movie comes out and it does bad and you never finish it, which is what happened to the cartoons. Was that Ralph Bakshi's ran out of money while making Lord of the Rings. And so that movie just ends out of nowhere.
Oh.
Like, so he was originally planning on doing it in 2 movies, and then they ran out of money while finishing the first one, and so they just stapled, like, it ends with like a big battle, and then Gandalf just being like, and then they won, and everything was fine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Oh, God bless Lord of the Rings. I'm very excited. Do you have any final thoughts on 1977's The Hobbit?
No, not really. Just I'm excited to get into the good, actual, like, good Lord of the Rings movies.
Lauteur, as they say.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Lauder.
That's what all the cool kids are calling it these days. So, Brandon, you know, as we've mentioned, they're books.
There are books, Makenna.
You know, if, you know, say someone wanted to listen to these books.
Yep.
How can we help them achieve that goal?
Well, if they wanted to listen to The Hobbit on audiobook as read by Andy Serkis, Makenna, they could go to audible.com/trial/HBO Max, MAKS. And then they would get a 1-month free trial to Audible where they get 1 book that they get to keep no matter what, whether they cancel it or not. And they could pick up The Hobbit as read by Andy Serkis, which is really, really good.
Ooh, look at that.
I'm thinking about rereading all these books.
Oh.
And I'm probably going to do it on Audible because, yeah, Andy Serkis reads all of them. So.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's like a fun time. He seems like a very nice man with a good voice for reading books.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that. And Brendan, where can people find you on the internet if they want to find you on?
Well, they can follow me on Twitter. They can follow me on Twitch, and they can follow me on TikTok at Jose Ruckus. And yeah, I'm going to be streaming a lot of Magic in the next couple of months, and I would appreciate it if you come hung out with me while I do that. So yeah, twitch.tv/Jose Ruckus.
Yes. You follow me on Twitter at PotterPins212. Hear me out. You should follow the show on Twitter. Yep. HBO Max, HBO MAKS. You can follow us subscribe on the YouTube.
Absolutely subscribe.
YouTube.com/@HBO Max, HBO MAKS. You can subscribe on the podcast platform. I forgot podcast. Rate us 5 stars if you want. That'd be greatly appreciated. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Brandon, what should people comment this week?
I want to know which of the dwarves is your favorite dwarf. Ooh. Mine's Balin.
That's a good dwarf. Yeah. I clicked something on OBS. It's okay. Everything's fine. Comment. And I had a way to outro this, but I told myself I'll remember it.
You know, McKenna, on the YouTube, we're celebrating 10,000 views.
We
today.
are. Oh my god, I thought about saying that, but I was like already on the rigmarole, and then it completely left my mind. Congratulations on 10,000.
Today we got the email. We got 10,000 views on the HBO Max YouTube. Thank everybody who's ever viewed this on YouTube, and you're viewing it right now. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yes, if I could hug all 10,000 of you, if you want, I would. That was a very fun email to receive. Because
I bet.
I saw it right out of the corner of my eye. It pop up like, whoa, it's happening. Thank you. And keep watching you. I don't know if that was supposed to end it that way or not. How should I end it?
I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough. I like I said, I thought I was gonna end it a specific way, but I forgot. It was like one of the battle cries, but I don't remember what I don't remember it now.
Bye.
Bye.